There are mornings when you wake up and suddenly, your home feels unfamiliar. Not because it has changed, but because you are simply tired. Every item seems to speak its own voice. This was a gift from Mom. Don't throw it away. That one's still new. Maybe I'll use it someday. This thing, not sure where to put it, so I'll just leave it here for now. And one day, you realize you're no longer living in your home. You're just existing inside it. And each item, instead of being a memory, has become a small burden, quietly weighing on your mind each day. But here's what no one really tells you. Decluttering, when done right, doesn't just make your space look tidy. It can improve memory, boost alertness, restore your energy, and above all, help you feel like you're still in control of your own life. In today's video, you'll discover 7 decluttering rituals drawn from real stories of people just like you, once feeling stuck, but slowly and quietly turning things around. They didn't need to throw everything away. They didn't need superhuman strength, just a small start and a deeper understanding of themselves. This is Senior Rise, where you'll find gentle, practical ways to live lighter, freer, and more independently after 60. Stay until the end of the video, because ritual number 7 might change the way you see your home and yourself forever. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss real, uplifting advice designed to help you live with more clarity, strength, and peace each day. Ritual 1. The empty chair. Decluttering to open your heart to new connections. Evelyn lives alone in the suburbs of Oregon. Her home is only about 750 square feet, small but overflowing with memories. Every corner, every teacup, every chair carries its own story. At the head of the dining table sits a soft armchair, the one her late husband always used. He passed away 8 years ago, but the chair remains untouched. Evelyn dusts it every day, but she never moves it. It has become something sacred, not just a tribute to him, but a quiet place where her loneliness rests. Then one afternoon, her grandson Nathan came to visit. He stood silently, looking around the table, then softly asked, "Grandma, is it okay if I sit here?" Evelyn smiled and nodded. And for the first time in 8 years, that chair was pulled out again. Laughter rose from that side of the table. A small hand reached for hers, telling her about school, friends, and dreams. That evening, Evelyn shared something quietly. "I don't feel alone anymore. I realized I wasn't holding on to that chair for the past. I was holding on to it because I hadn't yet made space for the present." Do you have a chair like that in your home? A spot waiting for someone who left? A space you keep just the same, not because you need it, but because you're not yet ready to face it? Take a gentle look. Is that space helping you connect, or is it quietly anchoring you to something that no longer serves you? Psychologists call this decluttering for social space, a method that helps older adults increase oxytocin levels, reduce loneliness, and lift their emotional well-being. Sometimes, just by changing the purpose of an object, we awaken a whole new energy in our home. So if today you could clear just one space, not to discard something, but to invite a new conversation, a warm presence, which corner would you choose? Is there a chair in your home that reminds you of someone deeply? Share it in the comments, because sometimes simply naming a memory is enough to begin letting go. Ritual 2. Let your eyes breathe. Creating a quiet corner for the mind to rest. Charles, now 76, lives in a modest apartment in the heart of New York City. His home isn't messy, everything has its place. Neatly stacked books, straightened chairs, spotless countertops. Yet every time he walked in, he felt overwhelmed. "I don't know why my eyes always feel tired and I get lightheaded indoors," he once said. "I thought it was just age." But one day, at the eye clinic, I looked out the window, and for some reason, I sighed with relief. What he saw was simple: a patch of green, a plain white wall, and a window frame without clutter. But in that moment, his eyes rested, and so did his mind. That evening, Charles went home and made a small change. He cleared off the table by his window. No decorations, no trinkets, just space. And every morning since, he sits there, tea in hand, letting the sunlight pour in through the trees. "I don't need to meditate," he said with a smile. "I just need my eyes to rest." And suddenly, my head feels lighter. Have you ever noticed that every object within your sight takes up a little space in your mind? Science calls this visual noise, and for older adults, it can cause fatigue, anxiousness, and even mild depression. You don't need to declutter your entire house. You don't need to go minimalist. Just choose one corner, one surface where your eyes can breathe. A space that welcomes peace whenever you need to pause. Is there a surface in your home, a table, a shelf, a wall, that's holding more than it needs to? Try letting it breathe for once. And if you've ever felt the peace of a quiet corner, share it in the comments. Someone out there might need your story to find their own calm. We've spoken about creating spaces for connection and spaces for calm. But now we turn to something subtler, something that quietly drains your energy and confidence every single day. It's not clutter itself, it's the hesitation, the mental fatigue of touching the same item again and again, and never deciding. Let's explore ritual number 3, the one-touch rule. A tiny shift that can eliminate up to 80% of the clutter in your home. Ritual 3, the one-touch rule. Ending procrastination at the source. Linda, a 71-year-old widow living in Albuquerque, had always considered herself a tidy person. But still, her house often felt like it was filled with little piles of unfinished business, unopened letters, old newspapers, sticky notes, unboxed online orders, and stacks of magazines she never got around to reading. At first, she'd think, "Once I have time, I'll go through all this." But time passed, and the piles stayed. Every day, just looking at them made her feel more drained, frustrated, and even avoid the corners she once loved. Then one day, a friend gave her a small notebook with just 4 words written inside, "One touch only." From that moment on, Linda began changing how she handled each small item. An envelope? Open it immediately, decide whether to keep or toss. A package? Unbox it now, put it in its place or return it. A paper on the table? File it or trash it. No more "just for now" spots. After 3 weeks, she wrote in her journal, "I thought I was just tidying up little things, but the truth is, I was cleaning up procrastination from my mind." Are you touching the same item over and over again? A bill you haven't paid, a letter you haven't read, a bag you haven't unpacked, and each time you plan to handle it, you hesitate, push it to tomorrow, then next week? A study from Harvard found that older adults who deal with an item immediately upon receiving it experience 31% less daily stress, and more importantly, they feel greater control over their decisions, a key element of mental independence as we age. So here's the simple rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. If it takes longer, schedule it clearly. If it's unnecessary, let it go. If it's not yours to handle, pass it on to the right person. Linda calls this her daily confidence ritual. Because with every small decision made, she felt like she was reminding herself, I am still fully capable of managing my life. Is there an item you've touched at least 3 times but still haven't dealt with? Write it down in the comments. Sometimes simply naming it is the first step to letting it go for good. The first 3 rituals helped you reshape small spaces, both outside and inside, but the next one takes you somewhere deeper. Your emotional connection to memories and how to let go without losing what truly matters. Let's move on to Ritual 4, the Story Keeper Method, where every object holds a story, but not every story needs to be held through physical things. Ritual 4, the Story Keeper Method. Keep the memory, not the weight. Susan, a 73-year-old retired military nurse, lives in a small house in Tennessee. Her husband, Gary, passed away from a stroke a few years ago. Her home feels more like a tiny museum than a living space. Wartime mailboxes, her daughter's student ID from 30 years ago, burnt photo edges, a broken radio from the 80s. Every object tells a story, and so nothing could be thrown away. One afternoon, her daughter Emily quietly stood in the room, looked around, and gently said, "Mom, I see you're holding on to a lot of things, but maybe, just maybe, you're holding on to so many memories that there's no room left for something new." Susan didn't answer right away. But the next morning, she did something new. She began writing down the story behind each item. The faded handkerchief from her mother. Mum used this on her wedding day. She was strong, graceful, and taught me how to smile through pain. The old teapot from a friend who passed. We shared tea every Sunday for 10 years, but what I truly carry is her patience, not the teapot. After 3 weeks, Susan realized many items didn't actually have clear stories anymore. They were just silent witnesses to a past she no longer needed to relive daily. So she chose to let go mindfully, photographed the items with a note, creating a digital memory album, kept just one symbolic piece for each loved one, transformed objects into something useful today, like turning her late husband's shirt into a throw pillow. Neuroscience shows that older adults tend to store memories emotionally rather than physically. So when an item no longer sparks meaningful emotions, it stops serving us and quietly starts draining us. The Story Keeper Method doesn't teach you to throw things away. It teaches you to keep what matters most by honoring the story, not the stuff. Is there an item in your home that stirs your emotions, but also weighs on your heart? Try telling its story, even just one sentence. Write it in the comments if you like, or whisper it to yourself. You might realize you're ready to let go without losing anything at all. After walking through stories and emotions, do you feel just a bit lighter? Now let's explore something you may never have thought possible. Decluttering can actually sharpen your memory and boost your mental clarity. Yes, science backs it up, and the next person you'll meet shows just how true that is. Ritual number 5. Clear to think. When clutter quietly eats away at your memory. Harold, a 74-year-old retired structural engineer, had always been meticulous, logical, and proud of his sharp memory. But lately, he had started forgetting appointments, repeating stories, and spending entire mornings just searching for his reading glasses. His family grew worried. Some even whispered, maybe he's showing early signs of dementia. What caught Harold's attention was something a neurologist said during a seniors seminar: "You're not losing your memory. You're living in an environment where your brain can't function properly." That night, Harold looked around his home office. Papers stacked like mountains, bookshelves overflowing, knickknacks covered in dust from years gone by. Every time he entered, his brain felt overwhelmed, like it was being attacked by too much information. So he began a 12-week journey, following expert advice step by step. Weeks 1 to 2, cleared out the bedroom entirely. Only left the bed, a lamp, and a few relaxing items. Weeks 3-4, reduced 75% of visible items in main living spaces. Weeks 5-6, gave every remaining item a specific, permanent place. No more temporary spots. Weeks 7 to 8, established a simple daily habit to prevent clutter from returning. Weeks 9 to 12, added brain-challenging activities like puzzles, reading, and learning new skills, all done within his now decluttered space. After 3 months, the results even surprised his doctors. Memory recall for names and appointments improved by 45%. Information processing speed increased by 32%. Anxiety levels were cut in half. Sleep became deeper and more restful, according to a study by Dr. Sarah Chen in California. Living in cluttered spaces raises cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which directly impairs the area of the brain responsible for memory. But simply reducing the number of visible, unnecessary objects allows the brain to process more clearly and calmly. Do you have a space that makes your head feel tired every time you walk in? You don't need to clear the whole house in one day. Start with just one area you use often, like your nightstand, your desk, or your favorite tea corner. If you've ever felt like your energy or clarity was fading for no clear reason, try changing your surroundings first. Maybe it's not that your memory is fading. Maybe your memory just hasn't had enough room to breathe. When you reclaim your clarity, you also reclaim a part of your inner strength. But there's something even deeper than memory. It's the ability to feel. I can still take care of myself. No dependence. No being told it's time to leave the home you love. Which brings us to the next step. Ritual number 6, the independence supporting home system. Ritual 6, the independence supporting home. When your space helps you, not holds you back. Norma, 81, was a nurse for over 40 years. A strong, independent woman, she had cared for her ill husband, raised 4 children, and continued to do everything herself. But one day, her eldest son Matthew came for a visit. After walking through a cluttered living room, a messy kitchen, and tight, crowded hallways, he paused and quietly said, "Mom, maybe it's time to start thinking about assisted living." Those words stunned Norma, not because she opposed the idea, but because, for the first time, someone questioned whether she could still care for herself. She barely slept that night, but the next morning, she made a decision. She would redesign her home to support who she is now and who she might become in 10 years. That was the beginning of her 4-pillar independence system. 1. Organize by energy, not by habit. Norma no longer kept items where they had always been. She followed one rule. Every item must be easy to reach, easy to see, and require minimal effort. Plates were moved to lower cabinets. Everyday utensils stayed on the counter. No more climbing. No more deep bending. 2. The 3 a.m. rule. Every item had to pass one question. If I needed this at 3 a.m., tired, dizzy, and in the dark, could I reach it safely? If the answer was not sure, it had to be moved or removed. 3. Simplify maintenance. Norma used to spend almost 3 hours a day cleaning and organizing. Now, each space only held what was truly needed. Easy to wipe, easy to put away, easy to remember. From 3 hours to just 45 minutes a day. And she had more time to rest, garden, and write letters to her granddaughter. 4. Design for her future self. Norma started asking herself, what will my 91-year-old self thank me for? She restructured her entire closet with clothes that were easy to wear, lightweight objects, and furniture that was raised and sturdy. No more things just in case guests come or for special occasions. 6 months later, when Matthew came back to visit, he looked around and quietly said, "Mom, your house looks amazing. Now I see you're not just living independently, you're living smarter than I am." Independence isn't about rejecting help. It's about building an environment that helps you care for yourself, as long as possible, in the safest, kindest way possible. Are you currently living in a space that supports your independence? Or are there parts of your home that force you to reach too high, bend too low, or push yourself too hard every day? Try choosing just one area, your kitchen or your closet, and ask yourself, what would my older self thank me for here? You see, decluttering isn't just about getting rid of stuff. It's about rearranging everything so you don't have to struggle just to get through the day and can live actively, safely, and with dignity. And now, we arrive at the final ritual, the most spiritual one of all. It needs no tools, no strength, only your presence and your willingness to begin. Ritual 7. Decluttering as a living practice. Every small movement is a way back to yourself. Mariko, a 79-year-old Japanese-American woman living in Seattle, carries herself with quiet grace. Petite, silver-haired, and always dressed with care, she once taught calligraphy. She rarely speaks more than necessary, yet every time she folds clothes, washes dishes, or arranges flowers, it feels as if each action has its own rhythm. When asked why her home is always so tidy, though she never seems to be cleaning, she simply smiled and said, "I don't clean my house, I just live." Then she shared with me a quiet ritual she's practiced for years: breathing, in sync with simple acts of care. No music, no timer, no pressure to finish, just a gentle rhythm. Wiping a table, folding a blanket, one breath at a time. When folding the blanket, inhale, smoothing the corner, exhale. Folding a towel, inhale, placing it neatly in the drawer, exhale. It's not yoga, it's not meditation. It's simply bringing awareness into everyday actions. After a few weeks of trying Mariko's method, many older neighbors shared what they noticed. "I've been sleeping better. I don't dwell on negative thoughts as much. I feel like I've returned to living in my own body again." Recent neurological research confirms that syncing your breath with a simple physical activity, especially one related to home care, stimulates serotonin and lowers cortisol. This reduces anxiety, enhances focus, and fosters a deep sense of safety, something particularly important for seniors. You don't need to be an expert in cleaning. You only need to be fully present with a small task. Whether you're wiping a dish or picking up a shirt, in that moment, you are gently returning to yourself. Have you ever felt a strange peace while folding laundry or wiping the counter? If you have, don't dismiss it. That's a quiet gift life offers us in the most ordinary of moments. Now you've walked through 7 rituals of decluttering, but in truth, they are 7 gateways to reclaim your clarity, your agency, and your independence, not just in your home, but in your mind, and in the life you're choosing to live each day. You've just walked through 7 rituals, each one a small yet meaningful slice of life after 60, where decluttering is no longer just housework, but a quiet ritual that helps you live more deeply, more intentionally, and more freely in the very home you already have. We talked about the empty chair, where you might invite someone back into your life or allow yourself to step into a new connection. About the clear tabletop, where your eyes can rest and your mind can finally breathe. About the one-touch rule, not to clean faster, but to stop postponing decisions that wear you down. About the stories behind your belongings, so you can keep what truly nourishes you and gently let go of what no longer does. About the science of order, not just to tidy your home, but to sharpen your memory and ease your thoughts. About reorganizing your space, to protect your right to live independently, a right no one else can safeguard for you. And finally, we spoke of slow breaths in each folded towel, each wiped surface, where caring for your home becomes a quiet way of caring for your soul. These rituals don't ask for strength. They don't demand that you transform your home in a single day. They ask for just one thing: your presence. Steady, gentle, and kind toward yourself. Because here's the truth. Many people believe that after a certain age, we become weaker, outdated, dependent, but aging doesn't make us weaker. We only begin to lose ourselves when we stop choosing. Choosing what to keep, choosing what to release, choosing to live each day with intention. And when you pick up an object, take a deep breath and say, "I'm keeping this merci because I choose it," or "I'm letting this go because I have enough." That is no longer decluttering. That is an act of reclaiming your inner strength. So now that you've made it to the end, are you living in a space that lifts you up, or are you still pushing through a space built for a past version of yourself? If one of these rituals made you pause, made you reflect, let us know in the comments. Writing it down might just be the first step toward your next chapter. And if you believe someone in your life needs to hear this, a family member, a neighbor, or maybe your own past self, please share this video. And don't forget to hit subscribe to Senior Rise for more calm, practical, heartfelt insights created for life after 60. Simple, thoughtful, and always moving forward. Because sometimes, all it takes is starting with a single handkerchief to begin clearing a whole new life.